In the last section, we successfully rendered an image, but it's looking a little bit funky in here. So let's add some CSS to just clean this up. Inside of our SAS directory, I'm going to go ahead and create a new file, image detail.scss. And before I forget, we'll go ahead and add a class name back in image detail to our root div component, class name, image detail. Okay. We'll say image detail. And then we're just going to add on a couple of classes on here. First off, we will say panel body text align center and image comma video max width 100%. So let's go ahead and save this, and again, as a reminder, we need to go ahead and restart Gulp to pick up this new SAS file that we just created. So I'm going to restart Gulp really quick, close out the existing page, let the new one boot up, and let's see, we'll go to AW and pick our image. Cool. All right, so this is looking good. We've got our title on here. We've got the image. It's at an appropriate height. You know, we don't really want to stretch the videos because they'll start to look pixelated. And it's centered on the page. So that's looking pretty good. Let's try looking at a larger image. I think this one was pretty big. And so this is looking still pretty large, but it's definitely serviceable. So it fits within the boundaries of the page, and it is large, but I think for our purposes, it's pretty good. So back over in our CSS file, I think that we've got enough styling on here for right now. So I'm going to close the CSS, and we're just going to concentrate on the last step, which is to fetch the comments for a particular image that we've already fetched. So we have an image. Each image has a bunch of comments that are tied to it. And if you recall, when we were using Postman, we managed to fetch all the comments off of a particular image. And let's see if we can't find the comments route for it really quick here. Comment on an image. Yes, this is it right here. So we're going to get the comments for a particular image, and that endpoint is just gallery / the image ID / comments. So it's a pretty straightforward endpoint. However, what's not straightforward about it is we're going to need to have a place that these comments are fetched from and stored. And so as you may imagine, we're going to create one last store here, and it's going to be called the comment store. So in our stores folder, I'll create a new file called commentstore.jsx. And we're going to add in our boilerplate here. We require in Reflux, we have actions. Oops. And for the API, let's see, we're going to go up one and then into utils. So we'll go up, utils, API. Next, we will do module.exports. We'll create our store, declare our listenables, and we're just going to listen to actions. And I think for right now, we're just going to add one method on here. Oop, forgot the comma. And the name of this method is going to look a little bit weird, but just bear with me for a second. We're going to call this thing getImage. So we'll take a function, and this function is going to get the comments for a particular image, and so we need to specify which image that is, and we'll do that by providing an ID to this function. So let's go ahead and write out the API call that's going to fetch the image, or excuse me, the comments. We'll say api.get, and then just as we saw in the documentation, it's just going to be gallery, and then the ID of the image, and then /comments. Pretty straightforward. Next, we'll do our then function, which gets called with JSON. And before I forget, because I usually do, we'll bind this. Cool. All right, so now our question is, we've got our comments in the form of JSON here, but how in the world are we going to store this data? So for now, we're just going to cheat a little bit, and we're going to store it as this.comment. And we're going to assume that the store can only have one comment loaded at any given time. So if we come through here and we fetch another comment, it's going to overwrite the current comment with our new one. So once we fetch the comment and assign it to this.comment, we'll call trigger change. And then of course we need to define trigger change at the bottom. So we'll just say this.trigger, which of course, as we've discussed, means, hey world, we have gone and grabbed a new comment. And we'll trigger it with the current comment. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. Let's think now about our code path. Back in image detail, when the comment is about, or excuse me, when the component is about to mount, we invoke the action getImage. Well, guess what? Since we named the method on the image store and the comment store with getImage, calling this action is going to call the function getImage in both the comment store and the image store for us. Simultaneously, it's going to reach out to the Imgur API and fetch that data. So up until now, we've really only had a one-to-one mapping of actions to methods, but this is where things are starting to get at least slightly more Flux-like. So when an action is declared here, there might be many different things that need to simultaneously happen. In our case, we've got a little bit more simple situation, but whenever we are trying to get an image, it's understood that we don't only want to fetch data about the image, we also want to fetch comments about the image as well. So now that the comment store can fetch and store a comment, let's make use of that inside the next section.